All right, I'm back for Dusty S's ongoing coverage of Fragicago 2024, and I'm here with Akimbo Kamron following their elimination at the hands of Nouns. So Nouns was always going to be a tough match for you guys, but how do you feel you stacked up to one of the top teams in ESL Challenger League?
I definitely feel like we won the veto. We were pretty happy to play Mirage, Ancient, and we were going to play D2. We kind of got slashed on Mirage, but Ancient was definitely close. There's a couple clutches that if one went our way or we don't lose, we would have definitely had the chance to take a map off them. I mean, it felt good. Like we're just recently playing with Zai. We only started playing with him a week ago, and we still feel like we put on a pretty competitive map at least, and definitely had a chance to at least take it to a map 3. Unlucky seeding. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, definitely. And running into number one seed Nouns, a team that's going to be heading to RMR in short order, is definitely a strong challenge. But speaking of the RMR, I think you guys had a fairly confident run at the RMR close qualifier yourself. I believe you had a close game against Nouns and also took a win over. I believe you also took a win over another team, or Limitless, excuse me. Yeah, so you played a great game against NRG. It was a 13-10, and then you beat Limitless. How do you guys feel about your win at the RMR CQ?
They felt pretty confident. I think they definitely did a really good job on short notice because I wasn't able to play the whole thing, but they really put together good T sides. I think we've been getting better as we played with time. Even growing into playoffs, we had a little hiccups at the start, and it's hard because English isn't their first language, so we miss a couple comms here and there. But I think we really have the talent to compete with top teams in the region.
And of course, I forgot that you had missed that the RMR CQ. Was that really frustrating for you? I think J Dubs, for what it's worth, did a fantastic job as a stand-in, but you missed it, which is a tough tournament to miss. Was that frustrating for you to have missed out on that tournament?
Yeah, it was really hard. I was really wanted to be there for the boys, and I've had some time, just some personal stuff going on in my life. So there's a lot of things I wish I was there for, and I haven't. I feel like if I was there for more amount of time, I feel like we could have shown a lot more progress. But we're feeling good gear. We're up 2-0 in playoffs right now, in the upper bracket, so we're feeling really confident. Just trying to keep our best foot forward.
With the team even playing the NA RMR close qualifier was a special circumstance with Valve getting you guys special permission to even just play it because for those who don't know, you have 3 Mongolians on your squad, so you technically should have had to play the East Asian qualifier. When you guys found that out, what was your reaction to figuring out that you were going to that technically you would have had to play the East Asian qualifier?
Yeah, we chuckled a little bit. I remember when Heiser was with us, he sent a picture in our chat, and he's like, "Yeah, guys, we're going to Asia," and we're like, "What is going on?" And it was kind of a little bit of a joke, but we were really happy to get moved to the NA one, and we think we stacked up really well against the other teams.
If push came to shove, were you guys going to play that qualifier?
Probably on 200 ping at 4 in the morning, but it's a chance you only get so many times, so you got to just take it when it comes. You never know what's going to happen for the next cycle.
Yeah, and mentioning that Advanced run, there was something quite surprising that happened right before Advanced start. You guys cut Heiza for Krell's, also known as ZY. What happened there? It seemed like the team was doing relatively strong together with that 5-man lineup. So what prompted the change from Heiza to Krell's?
Yeah, I think we kind of felt like we were meddling a little bit, and we didn't have the firepower on our team to be able to be competing with Undefined and some of the other top teams in Advance. I mean, I think Laxi is one of the best players in the whole division, and probably even in NA. I think if we could be on a push with him, I think it's really strong. I think Neo's a top opper that doesn't really get a lot of credit. I feel like we have a lot of the right pieces, but we just haven't found a way that works for us yet. And kind of getting Zai is adding more firepower at the expense of comms, but getting somebody that can still communicate with them, because I don't believe he speaks Mongolian, but he understands a little bit, so they can kind of do their speak Mongolian and be themselves, and I kind of just play all the small sites on my own, and they just talk to me when I need to. So I think it's really a productive change for us to give us firepower going into that playoff run, and I think it's going to set us in a really good spot for relegation, and hopefully even if we beat Undefined tomorrow, we have a pretty nice run for the upper bracket.
With the roster changes in mind, now we have a squad with 3 Mongolians, 1 Chinese player, and then 1 American player. What's the culture on the team like? And does the team do a good job of not making you feel like an outsider? Or what's the team culture like?
Yeah, I kind of joke now that I'm the import to the region because they're 4 Asian players, but they're actually all really genuinely nice people. I love pugging with them, playing with them in my free time. And they're super warm and inviting. I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of a language barrier when it comes down to more complex things, but they all speak CS, so we all kind of understand if we get into a server, know what we need to talk about, and can be able to communicate that idea. And I don't ever feel like I'm lost with them. I may feel like they're doing something on the other side map, and I might not know what it is because they said it in Mongolian, but I always feel like I know what my place is in the round and how to perform a game plan. And I trust them. I have full faith in them to do whatever they're going to do, and it's going to work because I really just think they're that talented.
And so I'm curious about that. So when you die, do they just go and start coming in Mongolian?
Sometimes it's funny too because there's just a lot of words that don't translate. So it'll be like English and Mongolian. I'll be like, oh, I know what they're saying to each other. Or like some rounds when they're doing like an aggro play, they'll comment in Mongolian. It's not as much of like an automatic switch, but they'll definitely like transition to Mongolian if I die or Zai dies, and they're kind of just the three of them. I think it just makes them more confident. It's more natural to them.
And you mentioned your upcoming match against Undefined. How do you feel about that upcoming bout? Especially because Undefined has so many known players in the upper echelons of ECL. You have some real experience on that team, whereas your team has like the firepower, but maybe lacks that experience.
It's always nice to play Bobby again. I always have fun playing ex-teammates and stuff, people I know, like we played today when we played the Pug Stack Unjustified or whatever they were. But I think it's always like a nice David and Goliath story. Like they're like the guys that should be winning and should be going on runs. So for us, there's kind of like less pressure because it's like, oh, maybe these guys should probably be beating us. Like they're all ECL, land hardened veterans. So for us, we're just gonna like come in, play our game, play super confident, do what's been working for us throughout playoffs and other tournaments, and just kind of replicate that for 3 maps.
Mentioning that though, mentioning stamina there for a moment. I remember sort of the narrative around you when you play with stamina on Limitless was you were kind of a player he plucked out of obscurity to think of you as a possible future upcomer. When that roster died, the next roster Limitless fielded with you, and it was that one with Mistem and MOTM, and those are some very experienced players in their own right. What was it like playing with those guys on Limitless, and why do you think the squad failed to really meet expectations and get to ECL when all consideration they really should have?
Playing with Mistem and Modem or with Stamina as well?
Missed them Modem, and I believe Scar was on that roster as
No,
well.
it was me, Mista, Modem, Locke, and Maxwell. I literally learned a lot on that team. Mistem to me broke the game down. Both him and Stamina were really good explainers of like understanding theory and stuff and breaking it down to a way where it doesn't make you really confused. It's super like simple and like able to like regurgitate to other people. And I always credit him with a lot of that praise. Modem was like one of my favorite teammates I've ever played with. It was super fun to have a guy that was like super willing to be aggressive and want to go in and first and just be able to trade. And he helped me come in a lot of my own because I think towards the end of that initial roster, I was definitely playing pretty bad. And then at the end of Go, when that Limitless roster happened, it was definitely gave me like a confidence swing going into the new game. But they definitely taught me a lot and were super. We almost thought when they were coming in they'd have bigger egos and be like more like top tier type of guys, but they were super humble, super just like want us to all get better together and bring us into our best version of the players we could be.
And one other unsung hero on that team was the coach of that Limitless squad, Jeebs, who is now gone over to Europe, and he's coaching a team with the likes of Navera and NBK and Tizian and all of these known European quantities. What was your impression of him when you had a chance to work with Jeebs?
The whole time we worked with Jeebs was super productive for us. I think he started off as like an analyst / assistant, and over time we just really grew a liking to him. He had a really good job of being able to like anti-strat other teams and provide like easy to read docs. Like there's a lot of analysts in the scene that kind of don't know what you're looking for, but it was very like simple, what you should know, but not almost like commandeering and trying to take like a more of a role than they should be. He's definitely not as much of a vocal guy as like other coaches that are super big yappers and want like to get involved in everything. But he's good at like guiding the team in the right direction, being able to put his foot down if somebody's being like unreasonable and kind of reset that mentality. But I think he really nurtures like a good team environment.
And one more question before I let you go. So we've seen you guys exit this tournament now, and you're heading into that all important match in advanced playoffs. But beyond that, what's next for this team?
Really just focused on advance. I know we have CCT coming up in a week, but just keep playing tournaments, putting our head to the grindstone. We're really in just like a full grind mindset. We think this is like a really good opportunity we have ahead of us that we really shouldn't take for granted, and it could definitely change our possibilities making that ECL run and even making a good run in CCT.
All right, so that's Kamron of Akimbo following their exit in the tournament due to a loss to Nouns. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in action in advance soon.